I really would have won some money on was I would have run some money on Morgan and Anthony, because I knew they so toxic. I think I said it in my exit interview with Tony. I said they really don't even need to be friends. They need to stay away from each other, because the chemistry and the allure of them for each other is so strong. They won't be able to be in the room and resist each other. I told you Morgan is an addict. Morgan is an addict. She's just like, a friend in recovery, an alcoholic. If you got a friend in recovery, an alcoholic, you're not going to invite them to a bar. You're not going to invite them to hang out with you and drink, because they can't resist it. Morgan, even after her big moment, her big takedown, she got her vengeance on Tony on national TV. She couldn't stay away. She's addicted to it. She couldn't stay away. She couldn't stay away. It's like she just loves the toxicity, so she can go there and then she can have a round two of the vengeance, because the vengeance that she let loose again on this screen after Tony hurt her again, because she went back over there with Tony, that tiger, and then he hurt her again, just like she was saying, you should have been talking to me before when I was trying to talk to you. He hurt her again, because that's what tigers do. Tigers kill. She keeps trying to make Tony the tiger a cub, but she keeps doing it because in the end, she wants to be right back where she is today, coming out here with another more vindictive words and mean words. And let me tell you, this time on this reunion, it was worse than it was during the regular season. Even Mark Anthony got that heat. She told Mark Anthony, shut your ass up and stay over there. Morgan said, you can get it, Mark Anthony. You can get it if you want to. You better not get in the middle of these two tigers going at it. You gonna get bit and destroyed. Shut your ass up and stay over there. I said, a good Lord. And then she called Tony a monster. Tony needs counseling. She and Jeffrey over here clapping behind the scenes, talking about, yeah, people need counseling. What the heck are Jeffrey and Morgan clapping about people needing counseling when they the ones that need a 2-for-1 plan? They need a whole 3-4 years worth of counseling, and they over here clapping because somebody else needs counseling. I tell you, they're good for TV though. They are good for TV. She said, Tony is a monster. You don't know the type of man he is. You don't know what he does. You don't know the two personality. He's one man here. He's one man there. Here's the problem, Morgan. We believe all this. We believe all of it. Let's say we believe all of it. We do, we don't matter. My question is, if you know all this about him, if you know he's a monster, if you know he's Tony the Tiger, if you know he's all these things, why the heck are you still getting in the cage with him? Why are you still ignoring all the red flags? She's over here complaining about Tony and what Tony is, but she's really making herself look bad and saying more about herself. Why can't you resist it? Why can't you walk away? She's putting him down, but she's putting herself down in the meantime, because you're choosing him. He's all these things. He's a monster. He's got two personalities. He's this, he's that. But yet you continue to choose him over and over and over again. It's pretty clear that Tony was sleeping with Natasha and Morgan at the same time. It's pretty clear that he was doing them both at the same time. We've had lots of clues, even on the exit interview with Tony. They asked him, had you and Morgan been intimate? And he said, I don't want to answer that question. Well, not answering is the answer. And Morgan alluded to it when she said, you put me in danger, because they probably raw dogged it. They raw dogged it. They used no protection. They used no protection at all, which means she was in danger. Okay, because we know now, we hear that he told her he wants to get married in 6 months or 2 months and have a baby. So who knows? Maybe they said, we don't need to use no protection because we're on the road to get married and having babies anyway. So let's just go ahead and raw dog this thing. Let's do it. There you go. So now, not only could she have possibly had been intimate with Tony, possibly been in a situation where could have gotten even pregnant or anything, and she was over here fooling around with Natasha. But then once she even understood all this and knew this, she still couldn't say no to it. She still went back for more. they still was going out and dating and doing all these other kind of stuff. And then eventually they broke up again. But she's over here saying he's the one that needs counseling. He's the monster. He's this. He's got the two personalities. What about you, Morgan? What about you? You know, you look at this whole apology Morgan issued. This would have been the apology she issued on her Instagram was after this sort of reunion. But she talks about that I don't know who that woman was on the screen. That wasn't me. Really, Morgan? Is this not you here again? You already apologized for what you did originally with Natasha. Now, do we have to get another apology? Are you going to tell us once again that this isn't you, that what we was looking at was a whole nother woman? You've had chance to film the whole series, go home, relax, detox from it all. Then you come back on the reunion and you give us more of it. Not only do you give us more of it, you take it up a level. You start spraying bullets on everybody. You spraying bullets on the women. You spraying bullets on Mark Anthony, and you spraying bullets on Tony again. I was afraid for Tony. When Morgan was sitting next to Tony and they were on the couch and Tony had that cummerbund way up here and Tony had that cummerbund way up here. He couldn't even breathe. I was like, Morgan, does she have a skillet in the back of that couch? Does she have a frying pan? Some hot grits in it in the back of that couch? Is she gonna lift up a frying pan or a pot full of hot grits and dump it on Tony's head? Because I know she ain't got no nair, but she could have a frying pan with some hot grease or a pot with some hot grits. And is she about to smack Tony with it? I'm telling you, if Tony should have been afraid, he should have been afraid being that close to Morgan and as volatile as she was. I would have got up. I would have been afraid. I would have been afraid that something was going to come from behind my head and a boom. Tony better not close his eyes on Morgan. Tony better not close his eyes on Morgan. But Tony said it right. What Tony said was that he and Morgan never had a chance to build a friendship. So they immediately went to the sex pretty fast. They started having sex really, really fast. And what they both said was they didn't get to build a friendship between. Because next thing you know, he was like, this whole relationship is toxic. At least Tony knows the word down. He knows that it's toxic. And I guess at least he's taking some accountability for his part in it. Because toxicity needs two people. She's toxic and so is he. But you know what? Morgan was like, don't be calling me toxic. Ain't nothing toxic about me. Girl, you are the poster child for toxic. If there's a billboard on the highway in Florida, the interstate, it's going to say toxicity and Morgan's picture is going to be underneath it. What the hell is she talking about? She's absolutely toxic. She told that man, you better shut your mouth. She told Morgan told Tony, I will destroy you. I'm telling you, this girl, in her words, she said, I will destroy you. Remember back in the early season, she told him, I'll cut you. This time, she said, I will destroy you. I don't know, y'all. I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over. Even after Morgan stormed off the show, here was Tony chasing after her, talking about, I need to talk to her. I need to talk to her. I'm like, good Lord, where are all my psychologists, psychiatrists? They need y'all on set. They need y'all on set immediately because this is a lot of ridiculousness that Tony is chasing after Morgan, talking about I need to talk to her. She talking about you should have talked to me 6 weeks ago. What is she talking about? What is she talking about? You know, I don't want to speculate on nothing, but you know what, y'all? I'm putting together some really strange things with this couple. I'm putting together sex very fast. I'm putting together raw, intimate sex. When she said, you put me in danger, I'm putting together that they were doing it even when Natasha was doing it. I'm putting together this craziness of Morgan. I'm putting together this, I needed to talk to you 6 weeks ago, but you didn't talk to me. What was so important to talk to Morgan about or Tony about 6 weeks ago? I don't want to say it, but I think there might have been some oops there. Remember I was telling you about what the soothsayer said to Mercedes, that protect your womb. I wonder if there was some protection of some womb with Morgan. I wonder if there was something she needed to protect her womb with, but I'm not going to continue to speculate on it because this vengeance she has for him and calling him a monster, and she's saying, you guys just don't know Tony. I wonder if Tony left her side when she needed him the most in a situation in which she needed to talk to him. But I'll let y'all come to your own conclusions. But I'm starting to get some vibes that some real other serious stuff was going on while he was over here knocking boots with Natasha as well. And Natasha was on the show. Did you hear her voice too? Is Natasha's voice like Jeffrey's voice? I don't know about Natasha. I mean, I kind of took up for her when Morgan spilled her business. I didn't think that was right. I still don't think it's right. But I'm telling you, if Natasha had stayed on the show longer than she did, I'm not quite sure I would even like Natasha, y'all. I'm going to say it because there's a few things about Natasha in her exit interview. If you guys didn't watch it, I picked up there, and a few things that she was saying that was coming out her mouth in this reunion that I kind of ignored it because I was like, well, she's not really a big part of it. But some of her comments, to be honest with you, I didn't think that they were appropriate. So I'm really wondering if Natasha had stayed on the show, would I have liked her? And then I also have to assign some of the blame of her even being with Tony to her, which I said on my exit interview about Natasha if you didn't watch it. So I don't know. I wonder if we'll hear any more from her. I think we will, because I think we're going to hear more from Natasha when this whole thing comes out about sleeping with Tony. And then we find out that Tony says that Natasha was the one that told the producers. And I had said that I didn't know who was the one who let Natasha's secret out. And I was saying it very well could have been Natasha, because Natasha was still talking to all the ladies trying to figure out who Tony was with. And I had said that. And now we find out Natasha was the one that spilled her own beans. She told producers. Like I said, we're going to have to hear the whole story. We're going to have to hear the whole story to see if what Tony said was correct, if Natasha denies it. But I'm going to believe Tony a little bit. I'm going to believe a little bit about Tony, that Natasha was the one that spilled the beans, because I think maybe Natasha might have wanted to break up Tony and Morgan because Natasha really wanted Tony. Because like I said, Tony ended up ghosting Natasha in that ex interview. He ghosted Natasha and she was upset. She was mad. I wonder if she then ran over to the producers to tell this dirty little secret so she could get back at Tony. Has Tony attracted two ladies who love vindictiveness and vengeance? Tony's toxicity is a magnet. It triggers women who love revenge. I'm not going to say that about Natasha because I don't know that much about her yet, but I'm telling you, her storyline is starting to get a little bit more complicated, and I'm not sure I'm going to continue to have a grace for Natasha. In fact, I pretty much already know I don't have much left, but I'm not going to just say it all outright. I want to hear more of the story, but I could tell in that exit interview, I was like, I was saying that on the exit interview, I don't know. And then on this reunion, she was kind of quipping in the background. I was like, I don't know. And then we heard that little blurb from Tony saying that she's the one that told producers. And I'm like, I'm pretty much almost all the way out the door on her. I'm almost all the way out the door on Natasha. But I'm gonna wait until next week to let y'all know how I really think. But then they had this little part where they were talking about the Lyndon, the Morgan connection, and how Morgan was talking about when she was 30, she would have been with a Lyndon. Lyndon wouldn't have been with no Morgan at 30. Morgan would have been worse at 30 than she is now. This is her growth. Imagine what Morgan was like 10 years ago. If this is Morgan, more mature, more grown, can you imagine her at 30? Lyndon would not have had anything to do with Morgan at any age. When Lyndon sat in front of Morgan and said, I'm not the one you need, she wasn't the one he needed because of that Nair situation. It don't have nothing to do with Tony won. Tony didn't win a doggone thing. Lyndon wised up and said, that Nair in the hair and what I see of Morgan is too much. I'm out. Period. He just didn't want to say it that way. But there was no way cool, calm, collected, funny, outgoing Lyndon would be with Morgan. I don't care how fine, how good looking Morgan is. Lyndon would have never been with Morgan. Not here at 38 and not at 30. Morgan can think that all she wants. Morgan can think all she wants that she has an ability to have been able to be with Lyndon or not. She never would have had a choice. Never in a million years would Lyndon have ever been with Morgan. Maybe to smash and grab, but it never would have been a relationship. In fact, I don't even think Lyndon would have smashed and grabbed because he would have been too afraid to close his eyes. All that hair Lyndon got on his head? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Tony tried to reel in Morgan. He tried to reel in her mouth. Remember when Morgan says, I need a man that's going to put me in my place? And Tony was like, yeah, that's me. I know I can put you in your place. You need a man like me. She goes, yeah, I need a man like Tony who can put me in my place. Remember when Morgan said that? Well, there was Tony sitting on that couch trying to put Morgan in her place, saying, you're not going to disrespect me. And guess what? He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. The job was too big for him. Here he is, thought he was this big alpha male with all this aggression and assertiveness. And here he was trying to put a Morgan in her place, trying to tell her, you're not going to disrespect me with these words, Morgan. And Morgan told Tony, shut up, I will destroy you. I tell you, men out there, if you ever hear a woman that says, I want a strong, assertive alpha male, because that's what I need to handle me, run in the other direction. Because what she's telling you is I can't control my mouth. I can't control myself. I can't control my temper. I can't control my temperament, any of that. And I need you as a strong, assertive man to do that. A lot of women, they recognize things that are in their lives that they can't control. And then what they do is they want to use the men to control those things about them. Maybe they're bad spenders. They want a man who's going to control their spending. Maybe they got foul mouths. They want an alpha male that tells them to shut up, right? It's always something about them that they need the man to control. And the next thing you know, they're like, well, you're not man enough for me because I need a more stronger man because I'm so strong myself. I need a man who's going to lord over me. Why don't the women just start controlling themselves? Why don't the women just start learning how to tamper themselves down? And then you have the ability to be with a whole lot of men. These women are limiting themselves on what kind of men they can date because they're so out of control. There's only a few men that can and really want to handle them. And those men, you start to find out, are toxic themselves. Any man that wants to handle a toxic woman who enjoys that, they toxic too. That's why you end up in these toxic relationships. A lot of these strong-headed women talk about, I don't know why I always pick the crazy men. You pick the crazy men because those are the only men that will deal with you. The only men that will deal with you.